The TikTok one was kind of fluke, in my opinion. That just popped off.
I want to hear about it.
I never thought about the Masters from a business perspective, just as a consumer of golf.
Edit muscles and thank you.
Where's the transparency in this?
You might want to leave all this in the video. Ta-da! Welcome to Get Real Estate Podcast. We got real questions. We got real answers and some real estate. But at the end of the day, we bring interesting people like you because that's what we like. It's good to have you, buddy.
Not that interesting.
Thanks for coming.
There we go. Thanks for the invite. I appreciate it.
How you doing?
I'm good, man. Yourself?
I'm good. I know you golf a little bit, so
Yes, sir.
I was trying to impress you with my little Masters
I love
patron
it.
shirt today.
The historical green.
Went to the Masters last year. We were just talking about it. Do the lottery if you can do it. Greatest thing ever. If you want to learn about like how to run a business operationally perfect,
The Masters?
go to the Masters.
I never thought about the Masters from a business perspective, just as a consumer of golf.
Like, it was one of the most impressive things. I'll give you an example. Went to the bathroom, okay? There's 20 bathroom attendants. They're lined up like machines. Like,
Giving you paper towels.
you. They're handing you paper towels. There's 50,000 people there, and you're never waiting in lines.
So here's the only thing I know about the Masters as it relates to business. Like $3 hot dogs, $4
Yes.
sandwiches,
Yes.
right? But then you want to buy like a polo from the Masters, then it's like, what, $2,000 or something like that, right?
It's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
But
It's not that
it's,
bad.
you know,
But that's business right there.
$1.50 sandwiches.
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous. They're delicious,
Yeah,
whatever.
I've
And you're
seen them.
flinging through, like, beers are cheap and everything. So I heard, because someone was like, oh, yeah, you know, they've been doing this now for 7 straight days because they had, like, another tournament beforehand. $100 million of merch.
Of
like,
merch?
the merch was one of the most impressive things I've ever seen in my entire life. Literally, there's thousands of people in line. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be here forever.
And that's because golf snobs like us, can we get that anywhere else, or you can only get Masters stuff
you
at
can you can go on eBay,
But it's not like
you can rebuy
buying
it.
it
But
at
no,
the
I don't
Masters,
think you can.
right? So you're going to spend $2,000 there on merch while you're there.
Sorry, Karen. But yes, I mean, so yes, you have to because it's your only time there. But like, once again, going through that line was the most impressive thing I've ever seen. They're sending thousands of people through it. From an operational standpoint, highly recommend going there if you want to learn about
It's
business.
good to know. Noted.
Talking about business.
Yeah.
So young guy, good at real estate, doing a lot of business. We've been working with you for a couple of years. You've got some social media videos, okay? And a lot of people are like, oh, I want to get in a video, I want to do this. I remember you talking about video, and I could just tell you were creatively thinking, and you were like, I want to do things differently. You have millions of views on multiple social media videos.
Yeah.
How did this come about? Is there a strategy to it? Are you lucky? Talk to me.
So I've always been on social for real estate, right? That's where most of my business comes from. It's my Zillow testimonial page if someone goes to my Instagram, right?
Yep.
But I started taking it serious like 6 months ago.
Okay.
So first off, I have not mastered it, right? I'm very early in this social media journey. But I will tell you that the more consistent you are with social, not posting every single day, but just getting out there and posting and being your authentic self, it's going to eventually snowball and something will hit. Yes, we have some videos that landed on, we have a couple with 2 million plus on Instagram. We have one with 3 million on TikTok. The Tiktok one was kind of fluke, in my opinion. That just popped off.
I want to hear about it. Tell us about it.
Honestly, I
Which
think...
one was the one you were running through the house saying, I want to communicate with Gen Z?
We call that the Gen Z house tour with the ceilings in the background. So we took a TikTok sound that was trending on social media, and we were like, hey, let's show off this house, right? And we ran through the house. The attention span of Gen Z is what, like 15 seconds, right? So we were like, instead of, hey, we're going to be inside of this house, it's 3 bed, 2 bath, we're like, nah, screw that. We're going to run through this house, right? So we ran through the house. It blew up.
It was hard not to watch.
It was hard not to watch. People watched it multiple times. You had a good
slogan. You're of great athleticism too. Like when
the
I
athleticism
jumped,
was kind of peaked though. You see that?
That was impressive.
So I jumped over a little chair.
I had this. I was at a Port City bar, and there was this little thing this big, and as a joke, I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go jump over."
Yeah.
Couldn't.
I've heard this story before.
5 inches.
You could not be a part of the Gen Z house tour for what it's worth. Yeah. But I think there's a couple of things that made that video pop off. One, the thing that we put, the header that we put on the main screen said Gen Z house tour, right? And so, first of all, Gen Z sees that and they're like, oh, I kind of want to watch it. The next thing they think is, shit, I'm Gen Z. I can't afford a house.
Yeah.
I'm going to start trolling this guy in the comments. So like half the comments were like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Half the comments are like, we're Gen Z. We can't afford a house. Who are you talking to? And I'm like, thanks for the comment. You're getting this going, right? So all of a sudden it was at like 100,000 views. It hit 1 million. We were like, this thing might hit a couple million.
Now those people that were responding, did you end up following up with those people? Like, is that like meaning like, do you look at them as a possible client one day? Hey, 3 of you could live in a house if you really want to.
I mean, I was responding to everyone at the beginning because I was like, this is going to help build it up, right? Yeah. And some people were like, I would say maliciously attacking me in the comments, and I'm like, this is great, right? I can defend myself, right? They're like, hey, interest rates are 8%, and I'm like, yeah, but like think about it from this perspective. So they were throwing me an alley-oop, but a lot of them were just trolls. Like,
I actually saw some of your other videos too, as being like, hey, interest rates are 8%, but this is why it financially makes sense. So it's really smart.
Yeah. So one thing we're trying to do with our videos is we're trying to take these concepts of like someone sitting in front of a screen and telling you a tidbit about real estate, but making it like what I like to do. I like to run. I like to do things creatively, right? So instead of me saying, hey, interest rates, it's like, why don't we go run on a street and pitch this as a way of showing what interest rates are all about? All
right, so you had a couple of these videes. You say you got lucky. Trending songs. We do trending songs. We've never been lucky. Great content.
You got to stick at it, though.
But when you started your like platform, your social channels, like, you know, what's the strategy? Like, how did you get followers? Was it just because these videos took off, or are you paying for ads on some different channels? And what channels are you on, and which ones are you not?
So first off, I've never paid for any advertising on social. I know. I feel like it's cheating personally. But maybe you guys pay for it. I don't know. Like, we haven't done it yet. It's not my MO paying for it, right? So I'm mostly on Instagram and starting to get hip to TikTok. Facebook's been neglected. LinkedIn like kicked to the curb entirely. But here's my mindset with social. My mindset has been, I've sold 300 plus homes in my career, and a lot of people come to me on social and follow me on social. Right now, the next part of that is how do we get real life business from social, not just like a testimonial page of what I am, but like how do we turn it into business? So the last 6 months of my social media has been, let's get the eyeballs, the clout, the followers, right? Because once we get people, then they're going to learn to know, like, and trust me as a real estate agent, and then I can convert them to clients, right? So people ask me like, how many deals and leads have you gotten from 3 million views, 2 million views? The answer is not as much as you would think. I got a listing appointment out it. I've got a couple casual buyers from it. But the goal is to get followers that then turn into people that want to work with me down the line.
That's really interesting on the conversion part. So you're like, you get these people to follow you. How do you convert them? What's that next phase? Do you reach out to them directly?
Yeah, I think we're in the process of trying to convert those. Now, one thing I did not first of all, I didn't know my social was going to blow up. The goal when I wanted to take my social media seriously was like, let's get big, right? And then it happens and you're like, oh shit, I wasn't ready for this, right? Like, who knew this was going to happen? So, one thing I did not see happening was the amount of realtors that followed me nationwide, and the amount of people that have messaged me saying, hey, if I have a deal in Virginia, DC, like, I'm going to send it to you just because they like what they're seeing on social media. So that business has not panned out.
No
but
I ever think about that.
I didn't think about that,
when
right?
You're like, oh, you get a following, and then people trust you.
Exactly. So a lot of real estate agents have followed me, and eventually, if you get one lead from someone in Alabama, one from California, like, there's 10 leads a year right there, right? I think that's future business down the line.
Very smart. Love it. Yeah. Do you have any ridiculous stories about leads or business that you've gotten, good, bad, ugly, or even someone being like, I'll never work with you?
So I think this is actually, it doesn't directly answer this question, but I think it's super relevant. The first video that popped off for me, the Gen Z house tour running through ceilings, those were the clients, the sellers were friends' parents. So my friend was my age and they were his parents. So they were 50, 60 years old, right? We sold the house. We went under contract. The video blew up. They were like, oh my God, so many people are like talking about our house in the video. It's kind of crazy. But they ran into my mom on the streets one day. And they said to my mom, hey, we were nervous to reach out to Kyle to hire him to sell our house because we see how he is on social media, right? So it's like this older demographic that doesn't quite understand like what I'm putting out on social, and they were like, we're so thankful we did because his communication, customer service has been fantastic. But they said they almost didn't reach out to me because of how I acted on social media. They felt like I pushed the line a little bit sometimes. They felt like I was not business savvy and more like social media guy. So it was really interesting that my first video to ever pop off was with folks that almost didn't even reach out to me because of what they saw from my social media.
No, that's actually really interesting facts. the one thing my mom and I might not agree on. She's always like, be proper and do it this way. And I was like, title's boring. Let's have some fun.
Title's boring.
And so, when I think about that, what I think about a lot is, we're not for everyone.
Yeah, we're not for everyone. And also,
like,
for those that know me, if anyone does, I'm team never trust a realtor in a suit. This is the most dressed up you'll ever see me today, even backwards hat and all. It's too proper. The industry's dated, it's dusty, it's too buttoned up and proper. I know some folks that'll be coming on this podcast that look great in suits. It's just not me.
I get it. And, I try to go, we have older clients too, different demographics, and, we have attorneys that look great at the table and they're dressed up and all that stuff. And so there's a you got to figure out like how it works. But I remember one time we're like, hey, we're never going to get the XYZ crowd. And I'm like, well, then we're not going to get them.
Yeah. But you found your niche.
Yeah, we're gonna provide amazing service. Yeah. And so every once in a while they'll try us out and they're like, I kind of like it.
Yeah. I think that goes to the story I just told.
It goes
where it's
back
like
to that.
They see what they saw on my social media and then like they think bad service.
Yeah.
Because that's what comes with like young social media people, right? And it was like, no, we can still provide the good service. Yeah. Right? We're just having fun.
Just because he has a great looking trucker hat. Oh, he must provide bad service. Brand new hats coming soon. This
is the old school one.
This is the sample. That's the old school one. Thanks for rocking it. All right, so we have some fans out there. All right, and so one person asked, hey, I used to be a real estate agent. I see him all the time on video. How much of his time is spent on video, social media versus all the showing houses, writing up contracts, all the other work as a real estate agent?
But you're not going to tell me who asked?
No.
Okay.
No, you got to keep it confidential.
They're not in the office right now? Or?
They might be, or they might not be.
How long do I spend on social media? Yeah. I would say when my videos started blowing up, I got consumed in it. Yeah. Right? It wasn't like I was focusing on what was going on in social media. It was like I was up late at night like refreshing my page to see like, oh, I got another 1,000 followers or I got another 100,000 views. Like I did get overwhelmed with that and that was not cool. I would say, to answer the question directly, I probably spend an hour a day on social media. Okay. Some days it's 0, some days it's filming for 2 or 3 hours, some days it's content ideas. Sure. So I would say on average 6-7 hours a week. And what does the rest of the day look like for a real estate agent? Those people that out there might be interested in becoming a real estate agent. Like how much of your time is showing homes? Yeah. When I got into real estate, someone told me you make your own hours, and it was the biggest bullshit I've ever heard, because you don't, right? Like late last night, a client hits me up, says, hey, I have an emergency. This actually happened. It's 8:45. I need to talk with you on the phone. I was in bed at 8:45, right? But you got to hop on the phone with them, right? That's not making your own hours, right? So I would say most of the time it's responding to emails, couple hours worth of appointments and showings, couple hours worth behind the scenes of drafting an offer and all that type of stuff, and then lead generation. So I mean, your day's all over, as you know. So I've done a little research, and so based on my Google abilities, I learned about something called overtime sports. Overtime. What is overtime sports? Tell me about it. Good, bad, and ugly. Yeah. What's up? I went to school at UPenn up in Philly. Great experience. I didn't get in there. You applied. No. Okay. And I met a buddy that had a sports blog going. Yeah. And I had just finished my baseball career at Penn. I actually left after my sophomore year, and I was like, baseball's not for me anymore. I was pretty bored with it. And so I ran into this guy that had a sports blog. It was called the Sports Quotient at the time. So we went on to start the Sports Quotient. We had 300 college kids writing for us across the country at 60 different universities. And we were sending kids off to work at ESPN and Bleacher Report. They were using us as like a stepping stone for their sports career. We eventually tied up a little partnership with USA Today, and then we moved on from that. My buddy, Zach Wiener, shout out Zach, hope you see this, he went on to start a company called Tally, which converted into Overtime. They're one of the biggest sports media platforms out there. Still to this day. Nice. They started Overtime Elite, which I don't know if you've heard about it, is they're paying kids to not go to college and to play at their facility in Atlanta. They are changing the sports, mostly basketball right now, but changing the sports game. And I will say, if I did not meet Zach Wiener, I would not be in real estate. I would have been 9 to 5. I wouldn't have known how to be an entrepreneur. He gave me all of my entrepreneurial drive. I don't know if I truly believe that. You seem like you have an innate drive. And like you might, because I went and did 9 to 5 for a little bit, and then eventually you just get a little itchy. You know? Itchy, but like I didn't know what it was like to work hard without meeting him. We were up till like 2 a.m. writing sports blogs, like recruiting kids at UCLA, doing all this type of stuff. And without that experience in college, I'm working at like a Starbucks probably. That's impressive. I love the PSL. All right, so I've been seeing on social, and I've been seeing you in the office a lot buying homes.
And you recently posted that you and your buddies, I believe, bought now 20 homes together. That's amazing.
That's awesome.
All right, so you got people out there. You're a young guy. Are you 30 yet?
31.
31.
Yeah.
So how do you start buying homes? What happens if you don't have cash? Where did you get your lending? How did it get to 20? And what's the strategy behind it? Like, what do you look for when you're buying these homes?
So it's me and my two best buddies from high school. Shout out Tony and Sevi. We are up to 20 homes at this point, right? And how it starts is, first of all, it's not instant gratification. Everyone wants, hey, I want to go buy the rental property and make $1,000 cash flow a month. Like, it's not happening around here, right? So what we did was we would buy primary residences, move into them, live there for the amount of time we needed to live there, and then make them into a rental, right? Cool. And then we would take out lines of credit, and we'd get creative with money, and we just started buying all these homes. And then it segued to, okay, we have 10 properties, we have a rent roll, we can show a lender, like, hey, give us money directly to our LLC, and we started getting loans directly to our company, right? Cool. So at first it was us buying homes individually, and then we started getting loans directly to our company.
Love it. Where'd you learn this?
Winging it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I have no investing background. Like, I'm all about, like, failing forward, right? And so we were just buying homes, and, like, some shit would work out and some wouldn't. And we would learn from it and then figure it out better the next time,
and so a lot of these ones now, how many are Airbnb versus monthly rentals?
Yep, one of the 20 is an Airbnb. Okay. The other 19 are long-term regular rentals.
Love it. Love it.
And we have like 3, 4, 5-year leases on some of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, I mean, some of them, people have been there for 5 years at this point, which is awesome.
The one, everyone thought, oh, you're getting all this cash flow. Like, it's amazing where the cash flow goes. Because, like, we had some bad investment properties that we bought. Yeah. We had some that are decent. And then we actually hit like a home run in Pinehurst, North Carolina, right when COVID started. People were nervous, and we got a really good deal on one. And we do get a lot of revenue, but we pay a ton of money to a rental company managing it.
Maintenance.
And then the maintenance, like we put a pool in. I know we added an asset to it.
Pool's not maintenance.
But like it's not maintenance. But like 2 years later, we have no cash we've taken out of this thing. And it's bringing in a really good revenue. Now, we just keep putting upgrades in. We added another bedroom. We did.
Yep.
So anyway, that's on us, I know. But
to that point, though, I think a lot of people, like, they're like, oh, I want to make $1,000. If you're making $1,000 a month on a property, you're probably breaking even to some extent because you have an HVAC that breaks throughout the year, right? And that's going to be $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 right there. You have a roof that needs to be fixed. All the toilet repairs that go on at these properties, right? So if you're cash flow positive, you're probably closer to breaking even when all said and done. But we don't own these, like, a lot of our properties we don't own for the cash flow. It's like a 20 or 30 year vision, right?
It's like you're paying off the equity, you're not really paying attention.
Exactly.
It's appreciating over time.
Totally.
And I agree with you. Like, we don't look at it as cash flow at all.
Yeah.
It's just like, what else can we do to get more renters in there?
Yeah.
And where we can charge more.
Well, let me ask you this. So the Pinehurst property, I've never been to it because I haven't been invited.
That's weird because I've invited you before, probably-ish.
Would you buy another one down there? An Airbnb at Pine. Is it Airbnb Verbo? What's it on?
So here's the thing, because this is the deal with Airbnbs and everything a lot of times, is, the whole county down there, or the city was like, we have too many people Airbnb.
Yeah.
Right? And so they came together, and we're going to try to kick everyone out that had an Airbnb and not allow them to do it. And so actually I went down there with my two other partners, John Kinzer, Matt Foley, spoke at the town center, but there was 500 people there. And it was like, hey, come on, extremes here. We go from allowing people to do whatever they want to absolutely nothing at all. Like, let's meet in the middle.
Would you have been grandfathered in, or is it like completely shut it down?
That's what we pitched. So we pitched, hey, listen, why don't we grandfather in the people that are here?
Yeah.
And, we understand you might not want tons of other people to do it. Yeah. So now you can't do it anymore, but we luckily got grandfathered in. Now, that was kind of our pitch. It was a lot of other people's pitches. That was kind of the common sense thing, in my opinion, to make it fair. And so, but it was a really interesting experience. And it was scary. It was, that was a really nice investment for us. And so all of a sudden that goes away. It's like, I even pitched that. It was like,
that would have been an absolute nightmare. Yeah, also, I think what you guys are doing Airbnb is probably good for the Pinehurst community down there, right? A lot of times some people are like, oh, there's noise, or there's whatever. But we're bringing tons of money to the community. Yeah, I don't know.
So, it's always interesting.
You probably wouldn't do it again knowing the information that you know now that they might not.
In fact, I don't think I could do it again because you can't Airbnb new homes anymore.
Oh, that's been...
Yeah, so now we're grandfathered in, which is actually a great thing for us also. So
yeah, it feels like your prices are going to go up.
But I know there's strategies out there with investors that are doing Airbnbs only, and then the town cuts it off.
Yeah.
it's a tough position for those guys.
Yeah, don't come knocking on my Airbnb, my place. That would be tough.
Where it is.
Yeah, you don't know.
All right, so look at that. It's good mic, isn't it?
Great mic. Yes.
So, all right, to follow up on that, so people out there, I want to buy an investment.
Yeah.
Like, give me some definitely watch out for this or look for this.
You just had Jason Shepardak on the show.
Yeah.
We did a podcast. I did a podcast with him a couple weeks ago, and we had extremely different mindsets on getting into real estate investing. I don't know if it directly answers your question, but I thought it was a very good conversation. He was very much so about cut out the crap and miscellaneous money you're spending in your life to save up to buy a property. Mm-hmm. Stop doing the avocado toast and the Starbucks runs and all that. And I get that to some extent.
Sure.
Where I was on the bandwagon of partner with friends to get into your first asset. I understand there's cons to that as well. What happens if you and your friends go south and you three people own a house and what goes on with it. But we had very different mindsets of how to get into real estate investing. I'd be curious to kick the question back over to you. If you were 25 years old, you wanted to get into real estate investing, what would your mindset be?
Yeah, I there's pros and cons with both.
Sure.
And so it kind of comes down to, my concern with the saving up thing, is, I think it's best to just get in there and then learn.
More time in the market's better.
You could always go and do stuff on your own down the road a bit, So that's kind of my thought is, you're gonna mess it up. You're gonna fuck it up when you're doing your first one, second one. It's gonna happen. You're gonna learn a lot.
Yeah.
The problem is if you wait 2 years to save it all, then you've just lost 2 years of learning.
Exactly. Well, you've lost 2 years of equity as well, right? And you've lost 2 years of paying your principal down and 2 years of learning. Like you said, you could have learned a shit ton during that experience. But it was a very good conversation. I might post the video later. I might not.
I like this. Look, hey, Shepherdak's got a nice little background of success. So
Exactly.
Look, there's a couple ways to do these.
Yep, I think we went about it different ways, and we both kind of came to the point of having good real estate portfolios. So there's no correct answer to how would you get into real estate investing.
So sometimes I think people overcomplicate things. They're like, let's look at this strategy and this and this and that. And so I like to step back. What's the number one reason that you feel like you've had the success you've had looking back at your career?
So I did know this question was going to be asked beforehand, so I did brainstorm on it a little bit, and what I came up with was transparency. Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of fake stuff in real estate. I think, there's the 50-year-old real estate agent that has a photo from when they were 20, right? And that's not honest and transparent, right? Even just that little thing right there. But I have no issue telling my clients something they don't want to hear, but they need to hear. And do I lose the business from it? Sure, maybe I lose business from it, but at least I know I'm giving it to them straight. You can look me up on social media, and I think who you see on social is who you're going to get in real life as well. So I think my answer, the one word, would be transparency.
I like that. In fact, the truth is, if you're really going to be transparent and tell them what they need to know, they're going to respect it.
They're going to
99%
respect it.
of the time.
I agree with that.
So I like it.
Yeah.
By the way, what do you think about removing the fact that I knew this was going to be asked?
Yeah, we can remove that.
Oh, interesting. My bad.
I don't know. We haven't even discussed
it might give more comfort to your guests coming in that they have the.
Where's the transparency in this?
That is so good.
Where's the transparency?
We might want to leave all this in the video. Ta-da! That's great.
Gotta keep it real.
That's great. All right. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
It was fun, man.
I appreciate it.
Get real.
I know you're busy, so we try to do this quickly. Moving on and get people on the boat.
I hate driving to DC, and they got me up here.
Hey, by the way, he hit his car on the way in.
I hit my car in the garage on the way in. The top.
I didn't give you good parking directions beforehand because I just assumed you've closed here a lot because I see you in offices all the time.
Yeah, not this one.
But no, I think the people learned a lot. It was great having you.
Yeah,
really appreciate you coming in.
Appreciate it, man. Good stuff.